Hey all, welcome back, and in this one I just want to expand on our Streamlit app a little bit. So I want to make a scatter plot of we're taking 1,000 athletes looking at their weight versus their deadlift. We're putting in a trend line so that we can see the ordinary least squares trend of this. We have an expander here in Streamlit, which is just showing the raw data so that we can still see all of that if we want to go in and see what we have for everything else. And we just have some simple statistics, just the average weight and the average deadlift of our athletes. So that is the end goal. This one might end up being a little bit longer, so I might end up breaking this up into a couple different videos, but yeah, that's what we're going for, so let's get into it. Okay, so before we go any further, what I first want to do is I just want to put in like a config file to actually tell Streamlit what to do. So the way that Streamlit recognizes this is you have to make a .streamlit folder, and then within there we can make a new file and call it config.toml. And then what we're going to do with this is we're going to remember in the last video how we set headless mode equal to true. What we can do is we can specify that in the config file instead so that we don't actually have to call that. What else we want is we want, for a browser setting, we want to set the server address to be localhost, and this forces it so that we're able to access only on the localhost, which is what we want for right now. We don't really need to expose it to the rest of the network. And then the third thing I'm going to add here, there we go, is the actual toolbar that shows up in the top top right hand side of Streamlit. Is we just want to it's kind of ugly being there all the time, in my opinion. I don't know, it might be good for, you know, being like a developer, but I just don't really like it like while I'm developing. So okay, so now that we have that set up, we'll do pipenv run dev again. Okay, and now we'll open the file. Oops, don't need it open twice here. And notice that toolbar up here is gone. And we have it started in headless mode right now. So actually what we can also do is in the pip file here, we don't need this anymore, so it's more simple command, just streamlit run main.py, which is also good, I guess, for other people who aren't running pipenv. So if we start again, pipenv run dev, then you'll notice it's just going to be the same output. It's not really going to give you anything differently, but just to show you that you don't actually need that part. So if we open the CSV, we see that we have two fields here. We have weight and we have deadlift. And for this example, I want to just focus on those two fields for right now for the scatter plot. First, what I would like to do is use the Streamlit expander feature, and that's going to make it so the user has to click an actual, some people call it a draw, to be able to like see the actual data. And we're going to do that, and we're just going to plop the data frame in there so we can see, alright, that's in here now. great. So they can click that and go like that. Now, to generate the actual plot, what we want to do is we need to actually stop this service, and what we want to do is we want to do pip env, not pip env run, pip env install plotly, because it's ultimately a plotly chart. And so in order for Streamlit to display it, we'll actually need to be importing Plotly Express into here. So with that, import plotly.express as, I'm just looking at my notes over here, as px. Alright, so that makes it so that we can start using like st dot, you can see it as a plotly chart function right here. So in order to get the actual data, get the actual figure data that we want for that, we're going to create a new file called def generate scatter plot. We'll take in a data frame. This will be pd.dataframe. Again, the type annotations aren't really needed, but it's just kind of good habit. Whoops. Held down shift for a little too long for those. And then that returns back, oh, actually it returns back a px.scatter. Alright, that should be fine. So first, the figure will be px.scatter object. And then you can see from the IntelliSense you have a lot of data that you can put in here. The first thing you need is the actual data frame. So that's just df. And then the x is, so we're saying what columns we want to use in the data frame. So we'll say x.weight, x equals weight. Oops. And then y equals deadlift. Those are just exactly what they're called in the CSV. And we'll put in a title, and we'll just say weight versus deadlift. That should be fine. So in order to make plotly figures, you actually need to do one more thing too. You need to make an actual layout object. So typically to do that, you just do figure.update layout, and then you can provide a bunch of dictionaries, and these mostly talk about like the actual configuration options. So do the x-axis title we want to be equal to body weight in pounds. And then y-axis title equals deadlift in pounds. And then what else do we want? We'll just do that for right now so I can show you. And then just return figure. And that's all we need for that. So now we just need to call that function in here. So generate scatter plot, and then we just pass in the actual data frame that we want. So now when we go back, oh, that's right, I have to restart the server. Pip env run dev work with JavaScript? Nope. Okay, then we should be able to refresh this. And there. So you can see that we have a basic scatter plot right now. The axes you can see are a little messed up and different from what we've seen before. That is because I've discovered with this data we have some outlier points here. You can see here that we have people who are deadlifting 8 million pounds, and we also have people who weigh 20,000 pounds. So not quite sure how the data got like that, but we can work on cleaning that up now. Before wrapping up on this part, I just wanted to show you too that so this looks a little bit squashed, this scatter plot in here, in which I want that to take up most of the screen real estate at that point. So this will show you that, among other things, what we can control in the layout is we can control the actual width and the height. So let's say height 700, weight, width equals 900. And let's save that, see how that looks. Alright, so that's always rerun. Alright, so yeah, that's a little bit bigger right here. Even actually bigger than in the example that I had. I just played around with a couple more numbers. So that's good for that. That shows you like the basic scatter plot that we can have. So I don't want the video to get too long here, so in the next part what I want to focus on is I want to focus on cleaning up this data a little bit so that we just don't have this mess here that doesn't really look like it tells us actually anything. So we'll work on that in the next part, and thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.